Why is it important to have a sales process? And the follow-up question that is, why is it important to follow a sales process? And this is, I don't know if you have a thought on that, but I sure do. So what do you think? Why is it important to have a sales process and to follow it?
Because it's easier if you have a sales process and you'll not lose sales. And follow up, I think the fortune is in the follow up, because people, they tend to forget. And if you just call them and say, hey, that's me. Oh, that's so good that you called me. I just wanted to call you but never had the opportunity. So you
The-
can actually
I like that.
win some sales if you stick to the process and if you follow up. So those easy steps.
In the importance of, you're exactly right. The importance of having a process and following that process is so you can replicate and duplicate it at will. In
Yeah.
other words, if you're going to put something together, say assemble something, you have instructions of how to assemble it, or you can disassemble it willy-nilly. Well, if I don't follow instructions on assembling something, usually I assemble something wrong and the
Yeah.
product will break. If I assemble it correctly from start to finish, everything has to be done in a certain order, and it has to be done like that in order for the final product to be a good final product. Well, sales is no different. If I do not follow the same process every single time, regardless if it's a customer I sold before or if it's somebody I've just met for the first time that was maybe a website lead, if I don't follow the same process, oftentimes I will miss a key component of how I'm building up to this sale, and that will cause the sale to fail down the line. So one of the things I noticed, I was huge on checklists, and when I'll go through and ask these questions, because I noticed that if I ever tried to wing it, I would always go back and I would forget something. I would be replaying the conversation in my head, and then I'd be like, oh, why didn't I ask that? Or I should have said this, or I should have asked this. And so like, hey, you know what? Let's not wing it. I used to use the analogy of an airline pilot. Airline pilots excuse me, have thousands of hours of experience flying planes. But before they take off, what do? They pull out a checklist and they go through line by line by line in that checklist, because they know if they want to land that plane safely, they need to make sure all the systems are in working order before they take off. The sale, this is no different. If you want to land this sale, you have to make sure everything is in place and in good working order before you take off. Final thoughts, Diana?
That's I like the metaphor with the plane. So that's true, because there's very strict checklist and there is no other way. So no one is thinking about doing in a different way. So we should adopt that in sales and just stick to the process and follow those checklists like there is no other option.
Stick to the process. It's right. You have to be disciplined with the process. So this was fun. This is something I used to do a lot back in the day in my sales training days. So I'll have all this great information in our learning portal, which our clients use. It was fun to pull these questions out again. But if you would like to find out how we can attract, capture, and convert high quality leads so you can pick and choose your clients and jobs, go